And I get why you laugh at my physical flaws. Physical flaws are funny. They just are. Disabilities are not. But some are. Most aren't. We know those ones, you know? Like if there's a 10K or a quilt, it's pretty bad. But the rest are up for debate. And if you're sitting here and you're like, well, when is it ever funny? Well, luckily for you, I have 3 examples. First, foreign accent syndrome. Some of you know about it, some of you don't. It's real. You can look it up on your way out of here. Some people experience head trauma. Not funny. But they wake up speaking their native language with a foreign accent. Very funny. I defy you to watch interviews with these people and not piss yourself laughing. Do you understand? Like a farmer in Alabama who's normally like, boo. That guy hits his head and is now like, the tractor trailer, it fell. A la mer. That's not funny to you, you piece of shit? Really? The best case ever of foreign accent syndrome happened in the UK. Not only was it a British woman who lived her entire life in the UK, she'd never left the town she was born in for 33 years. She was in an accident, and she woke up speaking English, but with a Chinese foreign accent. Did you hear what I just fucking said? Do you now believe in God and his awesome sense of humor? A British lady who her whole life was like, hello, it's a bit of a whiffle, isn't it? Like that. Now says, I have not had my conversation voice for over 3 years now. First of all, do you know how hard it is to do that impression without squinting? Secondly, if you're getting uncomfortable, like, whoa, he's mocking an Asian accent? No, she's white. This is fine. A white British lady just happens to say, would you like a cup of tea? Tastes good? You want milk? You want biscuit? Oh, good. You want me to suck the dick now? I don't know, whatever. She's a nice British lady. She can say whatever she wants. Now, if you're sitting in your seat right now and you're like, I don't think it's funny. Well, don't get your tits in a tussle. I got 2 more for you. So, what about persistent genital arousal disorder? That is a fancy way of saying never not coming. These are people that have orgasms every 90 seconds, and they can't have jobs. Why can't they have jobs, Tom? Because they're coming all the time. It's not appropriate for you to be like, can I try on this shirt? And the guy's like, ugh. Fuck your shirt. I'm gonna wear my old shit. I'm not wearing your fucking shirt. Can you imagine? You're like, oh, we're out of orange juice? Or, oh. Just bring water. That's too much sugar. I don't want any more of that. Some people suffer from both of those afflictions. You know that? It's rare, but it happens. Can you imagine that? That like you just walk up to someone, you're like, oh, I'm sorry to hear about your dad passing away. And he's like, that feels good. I made that one up. That's not true. But that was cheap, but that was fun. Now, if you're still not on board with this, how about an old, reliable one? You know, how about Tourette syndrome? Yeah, maybe you've heard of that. If you haven't, let me tell you. When I was in 5th grade, my parents sent me to a new school on a Wednesday. I'll never forget. It was a Catholic school, and on Wednesdays, they had Mass. So picture, you're a new student, at a new school, you don't know anybody, and the first thing you're doing is you're going to church. So I walk in, and the priest starts the service. He goes, in the name of the Father and the Son, and the kid in the row in front of me goes, fuck your cunt. And I'm like, Nobody did anything, no one batted an eye. He just goes, Holy Spirit, starts reading from the Bible. This kid goes, lick my balls! Fuck you. I am laughing so goddamn hard. But I know I'm not supposed to laugh. It sounds like I'm having a stroke. I'm 10. I'm like, I have tears running down my face. And finally I'm able to get out, how come nobody else is laughing? And the kid next to me goes, he's got Tourette's. It gets old. 3 years I was at that school. That shit never got old. That was the greatest gift God ever bestowed upon me. And I'll tell you this, the greatest day of my life, up until the day my son was born, was the day we had a substitute teacher that year, and they didn't warn her about him. Your imagination is serving you correctly. It was glorious. I watched a 10-year-old boy break a grown woman's spirit. These poor substitutes, they don't know what's going on in your class, you know? She walked in, somehow they didn't tell her, and she's like, read chapter 3. And then his tics would build, meaning they would start small. So he would sit in class and be like, hey. So she goes, what's going on? And we're like, she doesn't know. And then he would do this every day. He would take markers and paint his own shirt. Again, every day he did it, but she doesn't know about it. So she sees it. She's like, what are you doing? He goes, what do you think, bitch? Ah! Then he starts painting his face with the marker. And she goes, stop that. And he goes, fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. Fuck you. And she's like, what's happening? What's happening? And we go, that's Kevin. Why are you crying so much right now? Like that. And she killed herself. She's dead. So... she's out of teaching, but she's fine. So, you ever meet somebody and they're so boring you feel like they poisoned you? Like, you're talking to them and you're like, I feel like I'm dying right now. And I think you did it. This guy's name is Craig. I met him. I made sure to get it. I was like, I'm gonna remember you for the rest of my life, man. I met him at the bank. Is he a bank teller? No. Is he a security guard? Nope. What's his job? I don't know. Whatever they call that guy that stands in the lobby of banks now, where you walk in and you're like, do you work here? And he's like, I think so. That guy? The lobby liaison? Well, I saw him. We made eye contact. I don't know how you work. For me, if we make eye contact during the day, not at night, but during the day, out of human decency, I acknowledge you. So that's what I did. We made eye contact, and I go, how you doing? And he went, and I was like, okay. So then I get to the second set of doors to walk in, and as I reach for that door, I hear, you going to the bank? I go, is this still a bank? He goes, yeah. I go, I'd like to. And he goes, go for it. And I was like, okay, thanks. And then I reach back, and he goes, I'm going to Virginia next week. Are you telling me that? He goes, you said, how you doing when you got here. I had to think about it. That's what I'm doing. I go, that's the craziest shit I've ever heard anybody say. And also not how that question works, but all right.
And now I reach back, and he goes, yeah, my sister lives there. And I'm like, how long she lived there? Now I'm roped in. He goes, 15 years. And I go, you've never been? And he goes, uh-uh. Now I'm starting to look at him like, hey, man, do you drive to work or does somebody drop you off? You know what I mean? I think he could... Yeah. I think he could see it in my face because out of nowhere he goes, I drive. I was like, that's cool, man. That's cool. I drive too, that's crazy. I gotta get in here. He goes, yeah, we're gonna check out DC and we're gonna see some monuments. I go, I would love to hear about it, but I have to make a deposit. He goes, well, I'll be here when you walk out. I go, you motherfucker. Fuck that guy, and fuck everybody like him. If you have the audacity to tell people how you're doing when they say, how you doing, that shit is rude and selfish, all right? I'm serious. There are two acceptable answers to how you doing. Fine and great. And if you're miserable, you say fine. You don't burden people with your real world problems during a courteous exchange. Yeah. Sure. You know why? Because nobody wants to hear your problems. Your problems make my dick soft. And I am trying to stay hard out here. Now,
and I'm going to be completely honest with you. I went to the doctor, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to get a checkup, see what's going on. The honest truth is, I knew it wasn't going to be awesome, okay? I knew the doctor wasn't going to be like, you might be surprised to hear this, but you're perfect. Like, you're a perfect physical specimen, man. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I didn't expect him to be a dick. Usually they're not. I feel like in my experience, doctors are polite, almost overly polite, where it's phony and condescending. When they go, oh, really interesting story you got there. Doctors do that because you're telling them a story, and doctors don't want to hear a story. Doctors want to hear, this hurts. Not, I was over at my friend Charlie's house, and we went to move the ottoman, and I mean, you can use it as a coffee table, or you could use it as an ottoman, it's up to you. And your doctor's like, I want to blow my fucking brains out right now. I go in there, I sit on the exam table, which is my least favorite table to sit on in the world. This is the only table that in 30 years I've sat on where my feet don't touch the ground. So I feel like a fucking toddler waiting like... My doctor comes in, he doesn't say hello, he doesn't say good morning, he just walks in, he points at me, which is super aggressive, you know, to start a conversation with somebody like, hey man, you're like, hey, what's up, man? And he goes, do you want something for your hair? And I go, what? And he goes, do you want something for your hair? And I go, I don't get it. And he goes, has nobody told you that your hair's falling out? And I was like, damn. No. And he goes, oh, sorry. All right. Then he pulls my chart out of the slot, super dramatic, so that it makes a fucking noise. He goes, and he goes, wow. And I'm like, really? Wow. Is it full-blown AIDS? Like, why is it wow? And he goes, you weigh 245. And I go like, yeah, like I knew that shit. And he goes, you weighed 230 last time you were here. Not exactly what I would call weight loss. And I'm like, are we at a fucking roast or something, right? Like, what are you doing? Then he says, you know, you're the fattest patient I've seen all day. And I go, it's 9:30 in the morning. And he goes, still. He's like, you know, we ran your blood work. It turns out your muscle enzymes are through the roof. And I go, yeah, man, like, I'm super strong. Like, how is that a problem? And he goes, they're off the charts. I'm like, even better. I'm probably your strongest patient, man. And he goes, I don't think you understand muscle enzymes. And I go, that's true. I don't know what they are. And he goes, well, the only way you could have them this high would be like, A, if you were an Olympic athlete, which clearly, I'm like, dude, what is the deal, man? And he goes, the other way would be if you were a cocaine addict. And I go, I don't do coke. And he goes, I'm your doctor. You don't have to lie to me. And I go, I'm not lying. And he goes, I can't treat you if you're not going to be honest. And I go, hey, man, aren't cokeheads skinny? Isn't that like part of the deal? And he goes, usually, yeah. The nurse comes in. She takes my chart out of his hands, and she goes, oh, my God. His muscle enzymes are so high. Maybe he runs marathons. And my doctor goes, look at him. So at this point, I go, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me today. I'm going to leave now. And he goes, all right. And he goes, hold on a second. Do you have a ring on your finger? And I go, yeah. And he goes, you're married. And I go, yeah. And he goes, to a guy? And I go, no. And he goes, oh, I thought you were gay. And I go, why? And he goes, oh. I'm like, all right, dude. And he goes, hey, I'm just kidding. And I go, that's fine. He goes, but check it out. And he takes my chart and he shows it to me, and he had written gay ? On my medical chart. The thing that gets sent to other doctors has his inside, maybe he sucks cock joke written on it. I went home, I told my wife, she's like, oh my God, what are you gonna do? And I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, I mean, are you ever gonna go back there? I'm like, are you out of your mind? That's the funniest fucking doctor in the world. Of course I'm going back there. I have like Don Rickles as my primary care physician. It's amazing. I'm faking injuries to go back to this guy. You know you're a piece of shit. I'm like, I know. I can't tell you where to go. I can tell you where not to go. Wherever they film the first 48 on A&E. Oh, if you're not familiar with the show, here's what it is. Camera crews follow real homicide detectives for the first 48 hours after a murder. And the reason that that time distinction is so important is that after 48 hours, they give up on that murder. They're like, that's some old shit. What do you want to do today? You're like, how about you keep trying to solve that murder, man? That shit happened on Monday. It's Wednesday. We're not going to solve that shit. Really. There are so many amazing moments on that show. So many. A lot of the episodes take a similar path. I'm blown away, first of all, at how many times there's a witness to a murder. It's crazy. I always thought murders happen in dark alleys. Nobody saw shit. No. Every other episode, they're like, you see that shit? And the guy's like, I saw that shit, yeah. Where? Right fucking here. Really, I was standing here, and then he killed that dude there. Like, what'd he look like? He was like 5'2" to 6'8", something like that. And they're like, that's the fucking description you're gonna give us? Uh-huh. Anything else about him? Yeah, he had ears too. Thanks, man. No problem. They still will sketch that shit out. And they show it to people. Do you know this guy? And everyone's like, nah. But then one guy will be like, yeah! That's Cricket right there! You're like, oh shit. You know him? I've been knowing Cricket 27 years! What's his real name? Man, that's just Cricket. I don't even know. Stop being white and weird. That's a perfect fucking impression, and you know exactly who that was, okay? Yeah, it's a black guy, and he's wearing a wife beater, and he's got on a dirty hat, and he's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. And he looks like he's about 33, but you find out he's 76 years old. And he speaks super aggressively to the cops. I've been out here for a minute! And they're like, all right, Jesus Christ. When was the last time you saw him? He came through with jellyfish last week. They were looking for some smoke. And they're like, all right, Jesus Christ. They always cut to the whitest detective from that guy, too. They cut from that guy to the guy who's like, I don't think he's going to help us out. We're going to have to find Cricket on our own. That show has the best moment in television. It's the most dramatic thing you could ever see, because it's real life, and that is the interrogation. The interrogation is amazing, because here's the thing about drama. If you want to have a great, dramatic moment, raise the stakes. Guess what? There's no higher stakes than somebody being questioned about taking somebody else's life. It's inherently compelling television. It is also super serious. But the detectives insist on using the suspect's street name, so the whole thing turns into a fucking cartoon. Like, they're literally like, your life is on the line. We need to talk to you. Why don't you have a seat? Little stank, why don't you sit down for a second? Did you or did you not know Dookie shoes? I don't know no Dookie shoes. I got a picture of you hanging out with Dookie shoes. I mean, I seen them. I don't know. And then they'll throw one bit of evidence against the wall, hoping it'll solve the case. They'll be like, well, we were talking to Naamin, and he said that you were at the 7-Eleven last week. And he'll be like, yeah, I shot him in the face. And you're like, God damn, really? That's all it took to break you? Dude, lie. Lie for longer. You can kill somebody, you can't lie for 10 fucking minutes about it? Like, dudes will break on anything. They'll be like, we heard you had on a blue shirt last Friday. Yeah, I stabbed those 4 people. Dude, a lot of people have blue shirts, man. You can still get out of this. Here's what I've learned watching that show, okay? Lawyer up. You can't handle that shit. Everybody's like, I'm gonna talk to the cops and straighten this whole thing out. You're gonna do 25 to life. Have fun with that, man. Nobody asked for a lawyer. I've seen 300 people get interrogated on this show. 2 of them were like, can I talk to a lawyer? And both times the detectives were like, fuck! And then at the end of those episodes, it said on the screen, all charges against Tayshaun were dropped. Or Jim, pick a fucking name. Let's be honest, there's no Jims on the show. I've seen every episode. And none start with, hey, Bryce, can we talk to you for a second, man? Where were you last Friday? I was over at Tanner's house. Then Skylar had a party, so we went over there. And then we picked up Connor and we had pancakes. Sorry, bro. The detective, bro.
Probably checked into 400 hotels this year. And when I tell you that this has happened to me more than half a dozen times, I am not exaggerating. Every hotel check-in begins usually the same. It's standard. Hotels, the people at the desk, they go, last name? And this just happened to me. Last name? And I go, Segura. And the guy goes, whoa, are you Japanese? And I go, 100%, yeah. And he just goes, oh, we don't get a lot of Japanese people here. That's pretty cool. So I have to stop him and go, hey, man, I'm not Japanese. And he goes, Segura. Segura! Sounds Japanese. I go, that's because you're saying it Japanese. I could be Smith, and if you want to go Smith, it's Japanese. He goes, well, what are you? Which is fucking rude. Can I just say it's never important to ask that question? What are you? It's never important to ask that. It's sometimes important, but not a lot. When is it important? Sushi chef, accountant, 100-meter dash. Outside of that, sometimes it matters. So I tell him, I go, Segura is Spanish. And he goes, that's weird. You look white. And I go, I am white. And he goes, but you're Spanish? And I go, correct. He goes, do you speak Spanish? I said, yes. He goes, so you're Mexican? And I go, no. And he goes, I don't know what's going on. I said, what's going on is you failed fucking social studies. And you're not too good at geography either. And then I see his head drop, like he feels bad. I'm like, look, man, you understand there's white people in Mexico. You know that part. And he goes, no, I don't. I said, there's white people there, there's black people there, there's even Asian people there. And if you really want to shit your pants, those Asian people, they speak Spanish too. You don't expect it, but they're like, dim sum, muy rico, si lo quiero probar, si no lo quiero probar, concha tu madre, nadie te quiere, anda la mierda. They are Asian and they speak Spanish.
Bikes! I get like verbal tics, you know? I don't have Tourette's. I wish I did. It looks fun. But I'll just yell shit out. It's like a hook on a catchy song, except it's just stuff that I watch. And then, bikes! I just yell it, you know? Over and over. Only like 2 or 3 million times. But I'm obsessed with the show Scared Straight. If you've never seen it, it's tremendous. Here's what they do. In the show, they take kids, middle school and high school kids that are getting in trouble a lot, and they send them to jail for a day. And the idea is that jail will scare the fuck out of the kid, and then he'll get his life together, hence Scared Straight. It's tremendous. I'm obsessed with one episode. It aired once in 1999. Here's what's great. It aired uncensored, which is bananas. And in this episode, they did not send the kids to jail like they normally do. Instead, they sent them to a maximum security penitentiary. Prison. And those prisoners verbally assaulted these kids into crying a lot. And it's the funniest shit I have ever seen in my life. First of all, don't feel like too bad for these kids are super badass. They're not like spitting spitballs in class and they're fucking stabbing other kids. They're badass kids, okay? And they show up to this thing with attitude. Like they walk in, they're like, what's up? This ain't shit. I run 6th grade. I ain't scared of you, man. Like, can't scare me. And they're greeted by a guy named Crazy Chris. Chris has scars on his face, and the screen freezes. And it says, Chris killed 6 people, and he's doing a double life sentence. Like, this dude is so bad that when he dies and he's reincarnated, that guy's doing life in prison also. So, this is a bad motherfucker right here. The kids are like squatting around, and Chris is like, hey, my name's Crazy Chris. And from now on, you will see me in your nightmares. And the kids are like, what the fuck? Like, I'm 12, don't talk to me like that, man, that's crazy. And then he goes, if I ever see you again, I'll take a bite out of each of you. And they're like, all right, we're all reformed now, thank you very much. So, Jesus, but they can't leave. The next guy comes up to him and he goes, hold my pocket. Hold my pocket. And he makes kids walk around holding the inside of his pocket, you understand? So he walks and then they're like, I don't know what you know about prison, but if you're holding on to another dude's pocket, it's gonna be a rough day, all right? Not only is this guy making kids hold his, he's talking ridiculous shit to middle schoolers. He's like, I'm gonna make you suck my dick for breakfast every morning. And the kid's like, I hate breakfast. Funny shit like that. So, he's like, I'm gonna mush your motherfucking face. And the kid's like, so it's so fucking funny. There's one exchange where this dude, he pulls a kid out of line. The kid's like 13. He weighs, 100 pounds. And he has a bowl cut, okay? He has a bowl cut in prison. It's parted in the middle. And the prisoner goes, "Why are you here?" And the kid's like, "Ugh, stealing?" And he goes, "The fuck you took?" And the kid goes, "Bikes?" And he goes, "Bikes!" And that's why I yell bikes all the time. You should see me when we drive by a bike store. Holy shit. I'll be like, ah. And my wife, she's pretty over it. She'll go like, "You get one." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna make this shit count." So I'll pull over, I roll down the window, and I wait until I see somebody checking out one of the sidewalk displays, like with all the bikes out there. And when they find one they really like, and they're like, "Oh, I like this one," I'll go, "Bikes!" And they're like, "What the fuck?" And I'll go, "Stop selling drugs!" And I drive up. Great.
I saw a racial fight recently, which is terrible, but I watched it. How are you not gonna watch? You're gonna watch every fight, you know? Fights have that weird quality. Fights are kind of like hand jobs, and that like, you don't really want one, but you're like, well, let's see where it goes, you know? Like, will you give it a kiss? No? All right, so yeah. Had to take a shot. So, I'm in Philadelphia, walking through the park in the middle of the day. Beautiful day in Philly, beautiful park. I'm walking through this park, and as I'm walking through it, I see a white guy, and he yells across the park to a black guy. He calls him a nerd. And when you hear that and you're in public, you're like, oh my God. I'm gonna die. That's your first thought. And then another black guy, I don't know if he lived in the bushes, but he popped out of the bushes. Like, if this is a bush right here, I just saw a black guy go, no. Not in my park, But it's like, no one else saw that guy. Only I was like, oh my God, I see that guy! Like that. And it became my own personal movie. I watched him line up like the honey badger. He was like, that one? All right. And he sprinted across the park and he tackled the white guy. So instinctively, I just went, get him! But it took me a second to realize I'm the only other white guy in the park. Yeah, so like 10 black people turned and I went, no! Him. Our him. And they were like, what? And I was like, I'm out, that's what. And then they killed that white guy. And for the record, I don't give a fuck if they did. You know why? There is no such thing as white guy loyalty, okay? I mean, there is, but those guys are obvious as they hold torches, but the rest of us... are not having that shit. And let me tell you something, man. I'm jealous of interracial loyalty, because I see it. You know, if you're white, you see it with other races. Asians, you see it with black people for sure. What I'm talking about, there could be a dangerous situation. Let's say it's a fight, and there's a black guy in that fight. And then another black guy that doesn't know him will go, I'm gonna involve myself. Just on account of us being of the same race. At our core, we are brothers. I see that and I'm like, wow. Because when you're white and you're in that situation, you're like, fuck that guy, I don't know that guy. Do whatever you want to him, I don't give a shit. Let you do something like that guy in the park and then look at me like, hey man, are you gonna help out? You should know something. You're about to get murdered, okay? I will fucking take pictures as you're beaten and upload them, hashtag honky, hashtag dead honky. Fuck you, cracker. I'm out of here. Now,
my friend, I can hear her audibly say, I can't believe I'm thinking that. And I go, thinking what? And she goes, oh, nothing. And I go, what is it? She goes, it's embarrassing. And I go, well, just tell me. She goes, if I tell you, you'll make fun of me. And I go, I always make fun of you. Just say it. And she goes, no, it's just something, I want to keep inside. I go, but you said you want to do it, so just say it, and then you can make it happen. She goes, I don't want to. I go, listen, if you don't put it out in the universe, it'll never happen. You got to say it. What is it? And she goes, okay, I want to blow somebody in the Wu-Tang Clan. Now, I immediately think, what would my mom say, And I tell myself, don't be like mom. This is this girl's dream. So I look her dead in her eyes, and I go, you should try. There's a bunch of them. That's what I said. Now, 3 months later, she got on their tour bus, and she told them, and guess what? They all accepted. If you are not familiar, there are 9 guys in the Wu-Tang Clan. 9. So many guys. That's so many. Can we park for a moment at how many dicks 9 is? I don't even understand how anyone's sitting in their seat right now. There's people out here like, what else you got? Are you shitting me? That's not a lot. Close your eyes and picture 9 dicks. You're like, oh my God, they're everywhere. Yeah, because there's 9 of them. That's why. I'm not slut shaming. I'm saying objectively, 9 is a lot of anything. Like if I was like, I had cinnamon rolls today, and you're like, how many did you have? I had 9. You want me to take you to the emergency room, or you're gonna lose a foot by the morning? We should go. 9 dicks? Are you fucking shitting me? Some of you, it took you 15 years to get to 9 dicks. This was a Thursday for this young lady. Try to imagine the physical labor involved with blowing 9 probably not small dicks. If you're not aware, the Wu-Tang fellas don't look like me, all right? That is some CrossFit shit at that level. If you think burpees are rough, try. Am I doing good? Do you like me now? Like, after how many do you think she was like, let's take a little break for a second? What the fuck am I doing? Why are they so mean about it? How many is that? 4? Fuck. Am I done? And they're like, no, you're not done. You got RZA, Ray, Ghost, Matt? No, you're not done. And she's like, but my neck hurts. And they're like, you gotta protect your neck. Don't you listen to our music? Yes. That is a top shelf Wu-Tang blowjob joke. Now, she was a real animal, I asked her one time, I was like, if you could go back to that day and do anything differently, what would you have done? And she said, I'd have skipped lunch. So,
oh God. I'm assuming too. I don't fucking know. Here. Hap-
I mean, if I had to get a job, I think I would just go. Uh, maybe. Shipper. How do you know? We found it. It. Like it's one, there's other madness. And they go, how do you know that's the mat? It fired it. The thing is, Ben, I missed dear. It, today's gonna suck! But I'm gonna talk shit about Amanda when I get there. And then that raises your spirit, right? Like, think about that. Oh, this is for you, Amanda. The fucked up thing is people making. That question, like, how was that? I said, but I think I am that if be done, then kids accidentally tell. They don't. That's why yeah. And the kid's like, shit, I've never seen that fucking face before. Yeah. Um, That's right. That's like I said favorite part something once. You're like, cool, I'll roll with that forever. Thanks, man. Like, are you gonna fact check that? Like, oh, you said it out loud. Like, hey, now it's back. It really is deep, right? I remember all of us when we were kids, and
I remember you.
I get in the car. He goes, "Is the temperature all right, sir?" I go, "It's fine." He goes, "Would you like a bottle of water, sir?" And I go, "You don't have to call me sir. You can just call me Tom." And at that moment, all of his professionalism went out the window. The very next thing he said was, "You smoke weed?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah, sometimes." And he goes, "Do you want to smoke some now?" And I was like, "I mean, yeah." But I don't think my driver should be offering me, you know? He doesn't miss a beat. He opens the console, he takes out a joint, he lights it, he passes it back. I hit it out of respect, right? Because he's old. Then I give it back to him, and the next thing he says is, "Yeah, I can't drive unless I'm fucked up." I'm like, "Do you hear what you just said?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm ripped right now." And I'm like, "Well, hands on 10 and 2, motherfucker. Like, keep it together." I goes, "Is that all you do? Smoke weed? I can handle a guy that smokes weed." He goes, "Well, I love it all." I'm like, "What's all?" That's a broad statement. He goes, "I love coke, I love heroin, but there's nothing like smoking rocks. You know what I'm saying?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what you're saying." Mind you, this is while he's driving, so it's actually like, "I love smoking rocks, man. You know," I'm like, "Dude, turn around." So I go, "Can I ask you something?" He goes, "Yeah, what's up?" I go, "What's it like to smoke rocks? I've never done that before." And he goes, "Ooh!" I was like, "Is that the whole sentence? Is that it?" He goes, "That shit is the best." And what I like to do personally is I like to sit in my apartment and fire them up. And then I look out the peephole and I watch people walk around. And I just freak the fuck out about what's gonna happen next. And then he gave me a head nod like, "Doesn't that sound awesome?" I was like, "Dude, that sounds terrible. That's called a panic attack. And that's a horrible sales pitch for crack. Now I'm definitely not gonna try it." We pull up to the airport, and he goes, "None of my business, but I think you're too old to be messing with all these drugs." And he goes, "I don't do it anymore, Tom." Yeah, it was sir at the top of the ride. Now it's Tom, you piece of shit. "I don't do it anymore. I did it when I was younger." And I go, "All right." And he goes, "I mean, I still do it every once in a while. But you know what they say. If you do something every once in a while, it's not that bad for you." And I was like, "Dude, I think they mean that about like pizza and chocolate." Nobody ever means that for crack, just so you know. It's all the same cliche shit they said when we were kids, they now say as adults, right? They're like, "Oh, you watch too much TV, it'll rot your mind," or "You can't learn anything from television." But that's not true. You can learn a lot from television. For instance, without television, I would have no idea that Steven Seagal is out of his fucking mind. Or alive. I also didn't know that. He has a show. It's not a scripted show. It follows around the real Steven Seagal, and every episode begins with him looking in the camera and saying, "I don't know if you knew this or not, but for the last 20 years, I've been a cop." And you're like, "What did you just say?" "I thought you've been making shitty movies for the last 20 years. What are you talking about?" You watch the show, he has the most unlikable quality in a human being, which is that he is an expert in everything. Literally, if a dog walks by, he's like, "That's a Shih Tzu boxer hound mix right there." And they're like, "How do you know that?" He's like, "I've been working with dogs for like 35 years. Then a helicopter flies by, and he's like, "That's a HUB 106. And they're like, "How do you know that?" And he's like, "I've been flying helicopters for like 47 years. Then he does the thing, though, that everybody does who knows something about everything. Everybody has a friend, no matter what you're doing. They know the history of it all. They know every topic, every fucking fact. If you're eating dinner, they're like, "Forks are from the Roman times, and they would sculpt them out of bark." And you're like, "Will you shut the fuck up and let me finish this, please?" Seagal will do that, too, but he's making it up. He'll be like, "They also call that helicopter a skippy." And they're like, why? He goes, listen to it. Skip. That's bullshit. You made that shit up. No, seriously. It just blows my mind. It really does. That everybody in this room, everybody has this real world possibility in their lives. All of us. We could go tonight, if we wanted to, tonight. You could go to Louisiana, you could start a fight in a bar, and there is a real world possibility that Steven Seagal will arrest you. Isn't that insane to you? I've lost sleep over this shit. I mean, that's crazy. That's literally like if you leave here and you roll through a stop sign and then Sylvester Stallone is like, hey, roll it down. And you're like, get the fuck out of here. You work here? He's like, it's my passion, yeah. Will you say Adrian or something? Nah. It's nuts. You have to watch this show. He panders to every group according to race, knowing full well there's a camera crew following him around. He doesn't give a shit. If you're white, he's like, how's it going? All right. And then to black people, he's like, what's up, cuz? And they're like, hey, what's up? I'm holding you down, so holla if you need something. Okay. And then to all Latino, Spanish-speaking people, he insists on speaking horrifically broken Spanish, even if they start the conversation in English. If they're like, hey, yeah, I called 911, thank you for coming. The thing is, he's like, hola. Mucho queso. He's like, I think my English is way better than your Spanish, man. And he's like, no, gracias. No. And then to all Asian people, he bows, regardless of where he meets them. If you're Asian and you cross Steven Seagal's path, he's like, yeah. And you sit and they go, hey, I was born here, you dick. Like, you don't have to do that. And he's like, sorry, I've been doing martial arts for like 85 years. He trains other cops in hand-to-hand combat. I think that's infuriating. For those cops. It's not like we're hanging out. We're like, hey, man, do you want to do like a couple shots and then go down the street? Steven Seagal is teaching people how to throw punches. And we're like, okay, let's fucking go. No. It's you're a cop and you show up at work and they're like, we're going to go over hand-to-hand combat today so you can protect yourself if you're in a really dangerous situation. You're like, oh, cool. Who'd you bring in to teach us? Like some Navy SEALs or Green Berets? And they go, no. We brought in Steven Seagal. And you're like, are we shooting a fucking movie this week or something? Like, okay, I'll pass, because that's ridiculous. I don't want to be a part of that. That's literally like if you're like at NASA, and they're like, all right, future astronauts, we're going to go over space exploration, and to get us started, why don't you welcome Captain Kirk? Come on out, man. And you're like, is he qualified to do this? And they're like, oh, you've seen him do all that shit. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about, man. He's been up there. They show him teaching people how to fight. It's horrible. He's bloated now. He doesn't have the same range of motion. He's like, everybody line up. If somebody throws a punch, you can block it like that. And then you could kick him in the throat like that. Are you kicking a child in the throat right now? Some people's throats are down there. I like Havarti cheese the most. What's your favorite?
Yeah, I'm very philosophical, you guys. I feel like life is about timing, you know? Timing. When to pull out. When to stop wiping. When do you ask a professional athlete for his autograph after a home playoff loss? And I think the answer is never. Thankfully, one of my friends doesn't think this way. It is my favorite thing that's happened in my adult life, okay? One of my buddies, he lives in Cincinnati. He is a big Cincinnati Bengals fan, okay? Now, yeah, I know, they're tough. So He goes to their game, they lose, which isn't weird, and then he decides he's gonna wait in the tunnel and ask players for autographs. Now, if you're like me, you might be wondering, wait, are you friends with like an 8-year-old boy or something? No, it's a grown man. So picture me in the tunnel of the stadium like, hi guys, keep your head up. Can I have an autograph? And he said they were all like, no. And some of them were like, fuck you. Imagine your heroes being like, fuck you. Oh my God. And then Adam Pac-Man Jones walked out of the locker room. Now, if you don't follow football and you're like, I don't know who that is, well, how can I best describe him? One time he went to a strip club and a bunch of people got shot. And then that happened 2 more times. What's up? I'll give you a sense of his vibe as bang, bang, ba-bang, bang, bang, ba-bang, bang, 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 bang. He is not approachable. So, my honky-ass friend the biggest honky in America goes, Pac-Man! Will you sign this football? And he said, Pac-Man went, what? Which to me would have been like, oh, so you don't? All right, cool. My friend just decides to make it more clear. He's like, it's a football, and you play it. I just watched you. Will you sign this? And he said, Pat goes, the fuck did you say to me? Which now I'm like, why are you still there? And he's like, I think because I'm actually shitting myself as it happens. But now he knows he's got one shot. Pac walks right up to him like, what'd you say? And my friend, he just goes, look, man, it's a football. It's from my dad, and my dad loves you. And he said, Pac-Man looked at him and he said, tell that motherfucker I appreciate him. That's the end of the story. But don't you love the juxtaposition of angrily being like, you tell that motherfucker, but then don't forget to say thank you. I've been trying to incorporate that expression in my life. I was at an airport bar, and I was getting up, and they called my flight, and the bartender goes, somebody recognized you. They said to send you a drink. I go, tell that motherfucker I appreciate it. He goes, what the hell did you just say to me right now? And I said, fuck his mother, I appreciate her. Tell him that. Asshole. So I still haven't found a place for it, but I'm working on it. So... But we as a nation, we have been traumatized by these horrific laws and people being imprisoned for having weed. And it highlights the absurdity of not only it having been illegal and so crazy for so many years, but also highlights how the next generation will not believe our stories about it at all. There's a 0% chance they will understand what we're talking about. It'd be like trying to tell a kid now, like, hey, you know, pigeons used to deliver messages to people. They'd be like, the fuck are you saying right now? It'll be the same thing. I'm gonna sit my son down one day and be like, you know, when I was your age, to get weed, I almost died. And he'll be like, why? Was 7-Eleven on fire or something? They didn't sell it at 7-Eleven. Daddy used to get in cars with strangers. Where are we going? Chill out, all right. The 3-hour round trips to buy weed. And if you're like, oh, what kind of weight were you moving? $20 worth of marijuana. That kind of major shit. I bought weed from a dude in a standalone trailer one time. Not a trailer park, a solo trailer. The most terrifying housing situation that exists. Like where other trailer people are like, get the fuck out of here, and they kick him out. I just walk up to that shit, 15. And this dude's like, you trying to get a sack? I was like, oh shit, yeah. He goes, we could go do that. I was like, all right, cool. And he goes, we just need to go get it. I was like, you don't fucking have it? Isn't that your sole responsibility? So I tried to play cool. I was like, all right, let's go get it. He goes, I'll go get it. You stay here and watch my place. And I was like, okay. And he goes, there's a 357 and a shotgun on my bed. Anybody comes in here, blast them. Inside, paralysis. But what I said was, that's what's up. Like, yeah, man. And then he stopped at the door and he goes, but don't shoot my mom. I go, can we get a description before we agree to terms? How about a height and weight on old mom? Not everybody agrees on weed. That's fine. I don't care. Like my parents, we don't agree. They're not cool with weed. I don't care. They're old. I still love them. My dad's a Vietnam vet. Some of them are cool with weed. Some of them are not. Some of them don't want to talk about Vietnam. My dad does. Some vets are like, I don't want to talk about it. And my dad's like, what do you want to know? Here's what I wanted to know when I was a kid. It's terrible to ask a stranger this, but it was my own father. I'd seen a lot of movies, so I'm like, you're in the war. Did you kill anybody? The first time I asked him that, he goes, no, I didn't. I go, all right, okay. A few years later, I asked him again, did you ever kill anybody? He goes, it wasn't like that. I was a lieutenant. I was in charge of people. It just didn't work like that. I said, okay. And then a few years later, I asked him again. I go, did you ever kill anybody? And he goes, I threw grenades into bunkers. I go, were there people in there? He goes, there were, yeah. Just little pieces by the time I got in there. And then last year I go, did you ever kill anybody? And he goes, there's no better feeling than killing the enemy. Whoa. I can remember the first time we ever talked about weed because it was Christmas Day. That's why it stood out. I was 12 years old. I think my sister brought it up. She was like, I want to smoke weed. And my dad goes, you want to know what I think of marijuana? And I was genuinely curious. I go, what, Dad? He goes, I was at a party one time, and somebody pulled out a marijuana cigarette. And I said, I'm out of here. And I was like, cool story, nerd. You got any other ones? And he goes, well, yeah, one time I was in Vietnam, and some Viet Cong tried to sell my Marines marijuana. So I found him, and I picked him up by his throat, and I threw him on the ground, and I put my M16 in his face, and I said, if you ever come here again, I'll fucking kill you. And I go, do you have any stories in between those two stories? Jesus, it's Christmas, bro. God damn. 2 years after that, there was a woodpecker fucking up our house. This will all make sense. And woodpeckers can really damage your house. I remember my dad paid a guy $500 to patch up that part of the house. A month later, the woodpecker returned. This time, my dad did not call the guy. He woke me up, his teenage son, on a Saturday morning. Picture you're dead at sleep, and my dad whispering in your ear with his potent dad breath. He just whispers in my ear, dead asleep. He goes, I need you to shoot a bird. I just go, I don't do that. And he goes, figure it out. So I said, okay, Lieutenant. And I got an air rifle. I shot the woodpecker. I remember I shot it mid-peck, so it was going like, landed in front of me, so much bigger up close, really big, red feathers, distinct features. I was blown away. I bagged it up, I threw it away, and then I went over to my girlfriend's house. I started telling her family about it over lunch. I should mention, at the time, my girlfriend's family ran a wildlife conservation center, so I didn't know my audience. But I heard a few forks drop, and I look up, and her dad goes, oh my God, you killed a long-billed woodpecker. That's an endangered species. And I go, oh. I said, my dad made me do it. And he goes, how does that make you feel, knowing that you did that? And I said, there's no better feeling than killing the enemy. It was fucking awesome. I loved it. Those birds are extinct now. I did that shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm crazy. So